Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the online education for the English medium organized by the Education Department of Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. So today we are studying the subject Science 1 for the class 9th. The topic that we are going to start today is current electricity, right? So within that topic, the subtopics that we are going to learn today is relating to potential difference and electric current. Okay, so this is the first session out of the 4 sessions for this chapter. My name is Vishal Sudhir Chaudhary, and I am from the Kurar Village MPS English Secondary School. Okay, so let us begin with this chapter. Okay, so students, you have learned about the concept of electricity in the previous standard, that is in 8th standard, right? So there we have learned a few concepts relating to potential difference, right? How the electricity flows, right? What are the causes of electricity, right? And what are the various reasons for electricity to flow in a circuit, right? There in the previous standard, we had seen about the dry cell, the various kinds of batteries, the ways in which the batteries are interconnected, right? But in this class or in this chapter in 9th standard, we are going to learn further more about potential difference, electric currents, then concepts relating to free electrons, electric current, then the most important concept relating to resistance and Ohm's law, and so on. Okay, so as you can see, we are going to be learning about potential difference, right? Then the concepts related to free electrons, right? So the concept of free electrons is going to teach us exactly why the electric current flows, right? And exactly how electric current flows. Then we are also going to learn about the units of potential difference, then the units of electric current, right? Then the important concepts relating to resistance and Ohm's law, right? So within Ohm's law, we are going to learn the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance of a circuit. Okay, then also we are going to learn about the electrical circuit, right? How to represent an electrical circuit, what are the various components of the electrical circuit, the various ways in which those electrical components are shown, their symbols and etc. Okay, then we are also going to understand concepts relating to conductors, insulators, right? Then we are going to study within the last part of the chapter relating to the resistor connection in series and resistance connection in parallel, which are going to be the important parts of this chapter. Okay, so now let us try to further go on and study. Just a minute. Yes, the next concept, right? So electricity is of utmost importance to us. In the modern day, there is hardly any device which works without electricity. Okay, so right now where you are sitting, you must have a fan over your head which is working on electricity. Then you might have a light, right? Right now the way in which we are conducting this class, that is online, it requires electricity, right? Your cell phones has to be charged via electricity and so on, right? So we depend on electricity for almost everything in our day-to-day life. That means a constant uninterrupted supply of electricity is required, right? So we need electricity 24 hours every day. Okay, so you must have a mixer grinder at home, you might have a television, you might have a refrigerator, right? So lots of these things are of utmost importance in our day-to-day life. Okay, so to avoid inconvenience due to power failure, hospitals, banks, offices are equipped with backup power generators, right? Now certain certain establishments, they require 24-hour supply of electricity, like a hospital or maybe an ATM of a bank, right? So these offices or these things, they have something called as a diesel generator, right? Let us see, they have something like a generator. Okay, as you can see on the screen here, so that generator generally runs on diesel, sometimes on petrol or kerosene also. Okay, so it is used as a backup. So whenever if there happens to be a power failure due to heavy rains or due to some other problems, right, that power backup generator can provide electricity to the offices or banks or to the hospitals, right? So you should understand that electrical supply is of very high importance for something like a hospital, right? Then let us move on further and try to understand more importances, right? So domestic appliances that use electricity, as you can see on the screen, you always have a fan at your home. Then you have a microwave oven, right, which can be used to cook food. Then we have mixer grinders at home. Then we have refrigerators, which are used to keep our food, right? Then we have vacuum cleaners and washing machines also. There may be other electrical appliances also that you may make a list of, right? Like something like a mobile phone or a music system or a radio. Lots of other things are there which make use of electricity. Then now let us see the applications of electricity in the natural world. Okay, now there are certain animals which make use of electricity, right, through their body. They generate electrical charges in their bodies through certain organs. Okay, so some animals also make use of electricity. Fishes such as eels use electricity to catch their prey and also for self-defense. Now these animals or these aquatic organisms, they are called as electric eels. They have certain glands on their bodies which generates a tiny spark of electricity. Okay, so that spark of electricity can give a severe shock to any small fish around it so that it can eat it, or it can also use that shock to defend itself from other predators. Okay, then next is what electricity in nature. All of you must have observed the lightning strikes during thunderstorms. Okay, so these are extremely high voltage discharges of electricity that take from the cloud to the ground. Okay, so the lightning that strikes the earth during thunderstorms is an excellent example of natural flow of electricity, right? So during a single lightning strikes, more than 2 to 3 lakh volts or more than that is transferred or discharged. Okay, so what if we can collect and store this electricity? Now, as of now, we do not have any such technology to harness and store this electricity, right? But that is in abundant um, supply in Earth, on our Earth surface, right? But we, as of now, we cannot use that. Okay, so this electricity in nature, all of you must have experienced this in one form or the other. Okay, then now the most important part of the chapter or the concept is relating to potential and potential difference. Okay, now what does this mean? Okay, now in the previous standards, you must have learned about positive charges and negative charges, right? Now when a potential difference or when a gradient is applied, a charges will flow from one direction to another, right? That we will learn further. Okay, so let us take a simple example for us to understand the concept of potential difference. Okay, say for example, you have a waterfall. Okay, now as you can see here, water is falling from the higher level to the lower level, as you can see in the diagram here. Okay, so water at this higher level, right, has a higher energy, right? As you know, right, at this higher level, the energy possessed by the water, the potential energy will be given by what? M into G into H. Okay, as it falls downwards, right, the height of the water gets decreased and it goes to a lower level, and hence it will have a lower energy, right? So as you are already aware, you must have seen a waterfall, right? Which way does the water flow? The direction of water flow depends on the level of the 2 points, and water will always flow from a higher level to a lower level. That means from a point of higher energy to a point of lower energy. Okay, so this is the important concept that you need to understand here. Okay, now electricity also happens to follow the similar concept, right? So here there are two concepts. There is a terminal which is at a higher potential, and there is another terminal which is at a lower potential. Let us see. Okay, now the same concept is again explained here with the help of a hydroelectric power station. Now let us look into this also again, and then we will move into the actual electrical potential, right? Now, as you can see here, you have the water at a higher level, right, which is stored behind the dam. So you can see the wall of the dam. As you can see, if I can highlight this, yes, this is the dam, right, the wall of the dam. Okay, and then the water is flowing from behind through that crevice or the pipe and through the generator, right? So when it goes to the generator, it rotates the turbine and it comes out. But if you look at the level, the difference in the levels, right, if I show the initial level here with the dotted line, and if you can see the final level to which the water has gone down, you can see the water has come down by that level, right? So when water is moving from that higher level to a lower level, a very high pressure is generated, which happens to rotate the turbines here. Okay, and those turbines are connected to a generator, and that is how they generate electricity. Okay, so this is the simple working of what? A hydroelectric power station, right? And then through transmission lines, this electricity is transferred to our homes. Okay, then so in this case also, water is released from a dam at a higher level, and due to gravity, it will flow from the higher level to a lower level. And by doing so, it will rotate the turbine, which will in turn rotate the generator and generate electricity. Okay, so here we are generating the difference, or we are taking the help of the difference in the levels of the water to generate energy. Okay, now let us now try to understand potential difference actually. Now, just like water, the flow of electric charge between 2 points depends on the kind of electric level at those points, and this is called as electric potential, right? Now, there are certain rules to be understood here. Now, if you look at these two plates here, now you have what? A yellow colored plate which has certain positive charges on it, right? So you can see the positively charged object is at a higher electric level. Now, by convention, by rule, a positive terminal is always considered to be the terminal at higher potential. Okay, the plate below, the red colored plate which has negative charges and negatively charged object is always considered to be at a lower electrical level, right? So the difference between these two levels, right? So when you have the positive terminal and the negative terminal, right? The difference between them, right? The difference in potential between them is the electric potential, as you can see shown by the arrow here. Okay, fine. So by rule, it has to be understood that the positive terminal will always be the terminal at higher potential. Okay, and the other terminal will be at a lower potential. Fine. Then now let us further, we will definitely come back to that point. Now let us now take an example of two terminals here. Okay, so if you observe this diagram, right, now we have two terminals here. One is a terminal A and the other is a terminal B. Okay, now as you can see, the terminal A is a positively charged terminal, right? By the symbol you can see, and the terminal B is a negatively charged terminal, right? Now those terminals are placed on the ground through on a stand with an insulating covering, right? That means what, they are insulated. They are not transferring the charge to the ground. Okay, so they are insulated. Fine. Then now when you connect a conducting wire across the point A and B, now what will happen now? The charges will flow, right? And the current will flow from a higher potential to a lower potential. Okay, so as you can see here, the terminal A, which is a positively charged conductor, as a positively charged terminal, as I had told you, is at a higher potential, whereas the negatively charged terminal will be at a lower potential. Okay, so electricity flows due to the conduction of negatively charged electrons. Okay, electrons flow from a point of lower potential to a point of higher potential. Now this can be slightly confusing, right? Now why? Because they are saying about electrons, right? So we will come down to that point in the next slide. But first of all, you need to understand, when electricity flows, it flows from a point of a higher potential to a point of a lower potential. By convention, the positive terminal is at a higher potential and a negative terminal at a lower potential. Okay, so conventional electricity flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, right? But when we say something is flowing, the term current means the flow of something. Okay, so exactly what is flowing here? So in your conductors, in your wires, what is flowing are electrons. So electricity or electric current is nothing but the flow of electrons, right? So in a wire, electrons are flowing, right? Now in the previous standards, in each standard, when we had studied the concept of the structure of atom, right, we have studied the charge of an electron. So all must be aware by now that the charge of an electron is a negative charge, right? Okay, so if a negative charge is supposed to move, right, so negative charge will always be attracted towards a positive charge. So in a conductor or in a wire, the electrons will flow from the negative end to the positive end. Now let us understand that in further detail. Okay, that we will come down to in the later step. Okay, now further we will try to define potential difference of a cell. Now the difference in potential between the positive and negative terminals of the cell is the potential difference of that cell. That means the difference which was there, this vertical difference shown by the blue arrow, right? That is what the electrical potential, right? So that is what the difference in potential between the positive terminal and the negative terminal is said to be what? The potential difference of a cell or any cell, right? if you look at the diagram here, you have our standard battery or a cell, which we happen to use in our remote controllers or toys, right? So it has a cap on one end, which is a positive terminal, and a flat end, which has a negative terminal. Okay, so the difference in potential between the positive and negative terminals of a cell is a potential difference of that cell. This potential difference is caused by the chemical reactions occurring inside the cell, right, which we had learned last year. Okay, so within that cell, within a single cell, you have various different chemicals which react with each other to generate the flow of electrons and hence generate the electric current. Okay, the potential difference sets the electrons in motion and results in the flow of electricity through a conducting wire connecting the two terminals of the cell, right? So that means the potential difference which is there between the two terminals causes the electrons to flow from one end to the other through a wire, right, which generates the current. Okay, then now let us try to understand the units of potential difference. Okay, so the amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge from point A to point B is called the potential difference between the 2 points. Now try to understand this. Now when we are saying that a current is flowing, some particle is moving, right? Okay, so in this case it is an electron. Okay, so let us try to understand the amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge from point A to point B, right? Now, when the concept of voltage or when the concept of electricity was discovered, the existence of electron was not known. That is why initially it was thought that a positive charge happens to move, right? That is why they have considered the positive terminal to be a higher potential and the negative terminal to be the lower potential. Okay, we will elaborate, we will come into detail further. Okay, so when you move a positive charge from point A to point B, what will happen? You need to do some work. Why? Because when you have to move an object from one point to another point, you have to apply a force, right? Okay, and force when you apply, and if it is producing displacement, then you say that work is said to be done. Okay, so potential difference between the 2 points is given as work done divided by the total charge transferred, right? So if you convert it into the formula, right, potential difference is given by the symbol capital V, voltage, that is a volt, equals to the work done W divided by the total charge. The symbol for charge is Q. So V equals to W upon Q. Okay, so if you try to give the SI unit, if you convert into SI unit, 1 volt will be equal to 1 joule divided by 1 coulomb, where 1 joule is a unit of work and 1 coulomb is a SI unit of charge. Okay, so the SI unit of potential difference is 1 volt and 1 volt is 1 joule per coulomb or 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. Okay, now we will go into the detail about the concept of free electrons and exactly what causes the electricity to flow. Okay, now every atom of a metallic conductor has one or more outermost electrons which are very weakly bound to the nucleus, and these are called free electrons. Now let us look into this diagram. Okay, now if you look into this diagram, it is a diagram of a single atom. If you can look at here. Okay, now in the single atom, you have a nucleus in the center and you have the electrons moving around the different orbits. Okay, now the conductors are metals, right? And in a metal, what happens is the outermost electrons, they are very weakly held by the nucleus, right? So if you look at this structure, right, the weakly attached outermost electrons, they can be transferred from one atom to the other atom. So that means what? The electrons can move around from one atom to the other. Means the neighboring atoms can transfer electrons to each other. Okay, and when you have hundreds and millions of atoms in a structure in a metal piece, what will happen? You can see the free electrons move freely from atom to atom, right? So a metallic conductor will have lots of these free electrons which are free to move within the structure. Okay, so let us read further. These electrons can move from one part of the conductor to the other parts. Okay, the negative charge of the electrons gets transferred as a result of this motion. That means what? The charge carriers in a metal conductor when electricity is flowing are who? The electrons. So in an electric current, the charge carriers are the electrons. Okay, so the negative charge of the electrons get transferred as a result of this motion. And these free electrons are the carriers of negative charge. That means when electricity is flowing through a wire, the negative charge is flowing or the negative charge is moving. Okay, let us further try to understand this. Okay, now let us consider that we have a piece of a metal. Look at the diagram below, right? You can see that long rectangle is there. You can imagine it to be a piece of a metal, right? And as discussed earlier, you can imagine those red piece or red dots or red circles to be an electron. Okay, now when such a metallic wire or a metal piece is not connected to any battery or any cell or any electrical source, what happens is the electrons are moving around randomly in all possible directions. Okay, so let us read what does it say. When a conducting wire is not connected to a cell, its free electrons move randomly in all the directions in the space between the atoms. Okay, so they do not have any given direction. The electrons will keep on jumping from one atom to another atom in all possible 3 dimensions. Okay, when we connect the ends of the wire to the 2 terminals of a cell, an electric force will now act on these electrons. Okay, and electrons being negatively charged will now start moving from the negative to the positive terminal of the cell. Now let us look into this diagram. Now you can see here the metal piece or the metallic wire is now connected to a cell, right? Now, as you have studied in the previous standards, a cell has 2 terminals, a positive terminal and a negative terminal, right? Now, just now we have discussed that electron has a negative charge. Okay, so a negative charge will always get attracted towards a positive charge. Okay, so initially in this previous diagram, you can see the electrons were moving randomly. You can see the arrows are showing the direction in which they are moving. Okay, now as soon as you connect a battery or a cell or any electrical source to it, what will happen? Now the electrons will move in only one direction. Now, but observe which direction they are moving. They are moving towards the positive terminal, right? If I try to show you the positive terminal, now you can see the positive terminal is over here and the negative terminal is over here, right? So for the electrons to get to the positive terminal, they will move from this direction all the way around here, right? And to connect the circuit, they'll also go around from here and back to the conductor. Okay, so electrons, right? So electrons, move from negative to positive, right? Okay, but in the beginning, what we had learned or what we had discussed, the direction of flow of current, if you see by the yellow arrow, right? Current flows from positive to the negative terminal. So current flows from positive to negative and electrons flow from negative to positive. This is the most important concept that you need to understand. Okay, so the current, right? The current which flows from positive to negative is called as a conventional current, right? And the flow of electrons which takes place from the negative terminal to positive terminal is said to be the electronic current. Okay, so as we move on further, we will definitely be going doing more details about this. Okay, so let us try to now further move on and understand, right? So here the most important thing is that as you apply the electric potential, what happens? The electrons start moving from one direction to the other direction. Okay, so let us move on to the next slide. Okay, now just now we had discussed, now what we had discussed exactly we'll see again. So an electric current is a flow of electrons through a conductor, right? As we had discussed previously, right? So whenever you have a metallic piece or any conductor, it has a lots of free electrons, right? But in the absence of an electrical field, the electrons will move randomly. Okay, as soon as you connect a potential difference or as in a cell or a battery, what will happen? The electrons will start moving. So the electrons in the conductor will move from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, now this point is important, the third one. Conventional current is taken to flow in the opposite direction, that is from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. Now, if you can look at the direction of these arrows, right? Now the arrows on the conductor, right? It is showing what? The flow of electron. As you can see, they are going from the B end to the A end, that is from the negative end to the positive end, right? Whereas the arrow which is shown on the black conductor on the line, it is showing the other direction from positive to the negative end, right? So in any circuit diagram, right, there are two ways in which you can show electric current. One is a conventional current, another is a electronic current. By rule, we have to show the conventional current, not the direction of electrons. Okay, it is just for your knowledge. Fine. Then next is, now we will define what exactly is the electric current. Okay, so the term current, the word currents means the flow of something. Generally, when you stand besides a river, right, and if the water is flowing, okay, what do we say? Oh, the current of the river is very strong. There is the very strong current of water, right? That means you won't get a shock if you put your hand into it, right? What do we mean to say is the water molecules in the river are moving very fast. Okay, so the term current means flow of something. Okay, so in terms of physics, or in terms of what we are studying now, the electric current means flow of electrons. Okay, so let us define this. Now, electric current I, the symbol for electric current is capital I. Now, electric current I is defined as the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. Now, in this case, the charge is what? Electrons, right? So if you take a cross section, now look at this diagram. Okay, if you look at this diagram, right, this cylinder can be your wire or any conductor. Okay, so that cross section area, right, as shown by the green circle, it is a cross section through which the electrons are passing. So if I happen to measure the number of charges that pass through that point every second, I can define the current. Okay, so current equals to what? The flow of charge, means how fast the charge is flowing. Okay, and speed is measured with respect to time always, right? So look at the definition. So if charge is Q is flowing through the cross section of a conductor in time t, then current I is given as Q upon T, amount of charge per unit time, right? Means how fast or slow the charge is flowing, right? So if you have a circuit which has a very high current, that means lots and lots of charges are moving, that are moving very fast, means charges are moving very fast in a higher current. Okay, and in a low current, what is happening? Charges are moving slowly. Okay, or less number of charges are passing through. Okay. Then next is what? The unit of electric current. Okay, now as previously we have seen the formula for current I equals to Q upon T. Now previously we had seen the unit of Q. What is Q? The symbol of charge. Q is the symbol for charge, T is the symbol for time, right? That means what? Q, the unit of Q, coulombs, right? Charge, the unit of charge is coulomb, capital C, and for time it is second. Okay, so let us see. The unit of charge, or unit of charge in SI unit is coulombs. Okay, the charge of one electron, now this value has to be memorized, it is very important. Okay, the charge of one electron is 1.6, that is minus 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs. Okay, so it is a very tiny charge. One electron has a very tiny charge. Okay, now the SI unit of electric current is said to be ampere, and its symbol is capital A. Okay, so let us try to define 1 ampere. Now 1 ampere current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 coulomb of charge flows through it every second. Okay, so that means 1 ampere is 1 coulomb per second. Okay, and ampere happens to be what? The definition of the ampere happens to be the unit of current. Okay, it is very important, because when we are further going to learn more concepts about electric current, that is Ohm's law, resistors in series, resistors in parallel, we are going to use all of these units, coulombs, then amperes, then ohms, all of these, right? So we are going to learn further more units also. Okay, then now let us take this example, a very simple example. What does it say? A current of 0.4 amperes flows through a conductor for 5 minutes. How much charge will have passed through the conductor, right? So first of all, the rule for solving numerical, now this is a numerical problem. Okay, now whenever you solve any numerical problem, always write down the given data. Okay, make a habit of first of all noting down the given data. So let us write down the given data. The first data given is current of 0.4 amperes, right? The symbol for current is capital I. So we will write I equals to 0.4 capital A, that is the unit of ampere. So I is equal to 0.4 amperes. Okay. Further, current of 0.4 amperes flows through a conductor for 5 minutes. Okay. The next data that is given is time. Okay. Now time given here is 5 minutes, right? Always remember, convert all the units in a similar system, that is your SI system. Okay, now SI system, a unit, SI unit for time is second. Okay, the quantity that they have given you is 5 minutes, so you need to convert minutes into seconds, and we are aware 1 minute happens to be 60 seconds. So 5 minutes will be equal to 5 into 60 seconds, that equals to 300 seconds. Okay, then what have they asked? How much charge would have passed to the conductor, right? Now, previously, the formula that we had learned that related all the three quantities, that is current, charge, and time, is I equals to Q upon T, right? That means if you rearrange this formula, Q equals to I into T. So that is the formula that we have taken here, right? So Q equals to I into T. So substituting these values, Q equals to 0.4 amperes into 300 seconds, that equals to 120 coulombs. Okay, so therefore, the charge passing through the conductor is 120 coulombs. Okay, so I will expect students to note down, take a screenshot of this numerical, try to solve this, try to understand this. Okay, then let us now again revise whatever concepts that we have done briefly again. Okay, and any student, if you have a doubt, you can always ask the question. Let us go back to the first slide. Okay, yes. So as you have, as you're aware, electricity is all around us, right? All the appliances that we have in our homes, fans, TVs, refrigerators, microwave ovens, washing machines, computers, vacuum cleaners, all of them, they require a supply of electricity. Okay, so we depend on electricity for almost all of the daily things that we do. Okay, so to avoid inconvenience, sometimes we do have power backup supplies, something like an inverter or something like a power generator. Sometimes we call it as a diesel generator. Okay, for emergency use. Okay, so something like a hospital or maybe a bank which has to be working always will require an uninterrupted supply of electricity, right now. So in that case, you will have what, the backup generator, which will be switched on and then it will supply the electricity. Okay, then as we can see, yes, the various domestic appliances at our home which require electricity. Okay, as they are noted and we have discussed it previously. Let us move further. Okay, so we have also seen certain animals which make use of electricity. Now you need to remember, even us humans happen to have electrical signals in our body. Now the nerves in our body which are there, which send signals from the various sensory organs to the brain, right? The nerves also happen to transfer the signals in the form of electrical impulses, right? Okay, so nerves also happen to send those electrical impulses. So one of the examples is the fish such as eel, right? So they make use of electricity. Okay, then next is what, electricity in nature. Lightning strikes during thunderstorms, right? They are a thing to experience, and almost everyone must have experienced the thunder strikes. Just in the last week, we had such a big thunderstorm here in Mumbai. Okay, then yes. So the next concept was potential difference. Now the concept of potential difference is what, the concept of a higher level and a lower level, and the difference between these two levels. Okay, so whenever we have something stored at a higher level, we say that it is at a higher energy. We have learned in concept, right, of potential energy. If any object is stored at a higher level, at a higher height, it will have higher energy. When it comes down to a lower level, it will have a lower energy. Okay, so always any object at a higher level will always want to go to a lower level. So in electricity also, there is a terminal which is at a higher potential, and then is other terminal which is at a lower potential. Okay, and electric current will always flow from that point of higher potential to that point of lower potential, just like water flows from higher level to a lower level. Okay, so we had also seen that example of a hydroelectric power station in a dam, right? So on a dam, what we have a very large, tall, big wall, and behind the wall, right, I mean, we will build this wall on a river, right, and the water will get accumulated, collected behind that wall in the form of a lake. Okay, and then the high pressure water will be sent through the pipes, through turbines, and the water will go very fast and rotate those turbines to generate electricity in a generator. Okay, so in that case also, water is going from a higher level to a lower level. Okay, so transferring this concept to potential difference, you can understand this by taking two cases, right? You have two terminals. In this case, you have a yellow terminal or a yellow plate which happens to have positive charges, and the other plate, the red plate, which has a negative charges. Okay, now by rule, by convention, the positive terminal is the terminal which has a higher potential, by convention, by rule. Okay, okay, so you need to understand and keep this in mind, that the potential of the positive terminal is always higher and the negative terminal is always lower, and the conventional current, the electrical current, will flow from a point of higher potential to lower potential. That means the current will flow from positive terminal to the negative terminal. But electrons which are negatively charged, which are the actual charge carriers, they flow in the opposite direction. Okay, and why is it so? ऐसा opposite क्यों है? Because the electrons were not discovered when, yes, because the electrons were not discovered when the concept of potential difference was given. Okay, so we had seen this with this example. So if you have a positive terminal, right, which is say terminal A. Okay, so as we have seen, the positive terminal will always be a higher potential, and if you have an adjacent terminal B, which is a negative terminal, it will be at a lower potential. Now, if you connect these two terminals with a conducting wire, what will happen? The current will flow between the two terminals. In this case, the current will flow from terminal A to terminal B. Okay, because terminal A is at a higher potential because it is positive, right? And the terminal B is at a lower potential as it is negative. Okay, now the next concept that we have learned was about your potential difference of a cell. Okay, so the difference in potential between the positive and negative terminals of a cell is a potential difference of that cell. This potential difference is caused by the chemical reactions occurring inside the cell, the concept that you had learned last year about the dry cell. Okay, then the potential difference sets the electron in motion and results in the flow of electricity through conducting wires across the two terminals. Okay, then we had seen what the unit of potential difference, right? The unit of potential difference is what? Volt V, and V is given as W upon Q. Okay, so the amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge from point A to point B is called the potential difference between the 2 points. Okay, okay. So the SI unit of potential difference is volt, and 1 volt is given as 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. Okay, then we had seen the concept about free electrons. So in a metallic conductor, right, a metal is a kind of an element. Okay, and it has a properties that the outermost electrons in the metals are very loosely held. So the outermost electron can be very easily removed. Okay, so when you have lots and lots of metal atoms in a metal, what will happen? The electrons can jump from one atom to other atom, and they can move on randomly throughout the metal. Okay, so every atom of a metallic conductor has one or more outermost electrons which are very weakly bound to the nucleus. These are called free electrons. Okay, so the conductors that we have, the wires, the copper wires, the steel wires, the aluminum wires, right? What do they have? These free electrons. Okay, so these electrons can freely move from one part of the conductor to the other parts. The negative charge of the electrons get transferred as a result of this motion, and these free electrons are the carriers of the negative charge. So if you look at the diagram below, what do we have? this metal wire. Now in that metal wire, we have those free electrons which are moving randomly in all directions, right? Now when on such a metal wire, if you connect a cell, now what will happen? As soon as you apply a potential difference, the electrons which are negatively charged will now start moving towards the positive terminal, okay, which is an electronic current inside the wire, right? But the actual conventional current is from the positive end to the negative end, as shown in this image here. Can you see the flow of conventional current is shown by that red block arrow on the black wire? Okay, and the flow of electrons is shown outside on a circuit. Okay, so you need to remember this. Then next we had seen the definition of electric current. So electric current I is defined as a charge passing through a conductor in unit time. Okay, so if Q is the charge flowing through a cross section of a conductor in time t, then current I is given as Q upon T. Okay, so this is the definition of electric current. Then the unit of electric current was what? 1 ampere. And 1 ampere is said to flow in a conductor if 1 coulomb charge flows through it for every second. That means 1 ampere equals to 1 coulomb divided by 1 second, or 1 coulomb per second. Okay, so that unit needs to be memorized. So what this numerical we had done. So what I expect from students to do is to prepare the definitions which we had seen today. That is definition of ampere, definition of electric current, definition of voltage, definition of potential difference, right? Okay, and then you can ask the questions. Okay, so any student has any question, you can raise your hand. Come on. Yes, students. Yes, bolo. Naisha Bijapure.
Hello, sir.
Yes, bolo beta.
Sir, are we able to store the electricity generated by our brain?
No. Why is it not? Yeah, we cannot store the electricity generated by our brain because it is very tiny. Okay, and that electric charges which are there in the nerves, they are constantly transmitted in the form of a chemical signals. Okay, when you study biology, you will study those nerves. Okay, and inside those nerves you have those synapses. Within this the electricity is transferred. That current is very tiny. Okay, so you cannot store and you cannot make use of it. Good question, beta.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, yes, Sridhar, bolo beta.
Sir, we can't store electric of lightning strike and eel fish electric. We can't store.
No, beta. The electricity that is generated by the lightning strikes is very large. And the biggest problem of the lightning strike is what? It strikes for only a fraction of a second. And biggest problem is that we don't know where the lightning will strike, na? हमें पता होता है क्या lightning कहाँ गिरने वाली है, बिजली कहाँ गिरेगी, हमें पता है क्या? नहीं ना? ऐसी कहावत भी आपने सुनी होगी कि बिजली एक जगह पे 2 बार नहीं गिरती, है कि नहीं? So it is very difficult to find out the location, and the electric charge that is supplied when a lightning strike take place, it is so huge, वो इतनी ज्यादा होती है कि हम लोग उसको स्टोर नहीं कर सकते. मैं आपको एक और चीज बताता हूँ. हमारी जो ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस होती है ना, जो बड़े बड़े टावर्स पर से वायर्स पे से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी सप्लाई होती है सिटीज में, अगर बाय चांस कभी उस टावर पे और उस वायर पे कभी इलेक्ट्रिसिटी गिर जाती है ना, मतलब लाइटनिंग, तो कभी कभी वहां पूरे एरिया की बिजली चली जाती है. वो जो उसकी एनर्जी है इतनी ज्यादा होती है. ओके, सो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू हार्वेस्ट दैट एनर्जी. अभी डेफिनेटली साइंटिस्ट मस्ट बी वर्किंग, राइट, एंड इट विल टेक सम टाइम टू डेवलप दैट टेक्नोलॉजी. ओके, यस, एनी अदर क्वेश्चन बेटा?
Sir, we can't store that eel fish electric. We can store, na?
No. उसका भी सेम प्रॉब्लम बेटा, that we cannot store. It is again tiny, very tiny amount of electricity that generates. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes beta. Any other questions beta? Okay, so I will expect students to start reading this chapter from the textbook. Okay, and you are always open to ask questions in the next class. Okay.